Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by Natasha Jonas. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Glad to hear it. It's been a big few weeks for you with one thing or another. Obviously, we'll talk about the Everlast deal in a minute, but the really big news is Katie Taylor shot at the world titles, May the 1st. A fight that you've talked about for a long time, and in the last year, Katie's talked about it quite a bit as well. A renewal of your old Olympic rivalry. You must be delighted to get the opportunity.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. It's a big opportunity. I'm no longer fighting for two belts. I'm fighting for four. So, I have cried and moaned and whinged and spat me dummy out and everything, and I finally got what I asked for. So that's I'm in a better off position than I was if I was chasing Harper. So
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that because last time we spoke, you told us that Matchroom had offered you Harper rematch, but only as part of a three-fight deal, which you weren't entirely pleased about. This time around, I'm assuming, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, it's just for this one fight, and it's a bigger prize, like you say, four belts, not one, and someone many people considered pound for pound number one in female boxing.
yeah, so the thing with the Harper rematch is that it was never going to be instant. It was never going to be like kind of what we said on the night after it, which was, oh, we'll have the instant rematch, and that never was happening. I was going to fight two other people, and then my third fight would be Harper. So
Got
I'm
you.
in no worse off position for taking the Taylor fight because Harper was still going to be a year away anyway.
And it's a bigger fight as well. I know the first fight with Harper was an incredible fight to watch, and it generated a lot of controversy at the end with the decision. So people would have looked forward to the rematch. But this is a whole other level entirely. You've got the backstory, four belts on the line. Katie's standing in the pound for pound rankings. You're coming off a great performance, the best of your pro career. It's got all the ingredients.
Yeah, and I think once again, for all the right reasons, all eyes are on women's boxing, and and when it was announced, it shows how far we've come because there was like I wouldn't say a petition, but there was a load of people saying, why isn't this topping the bill?
Yeah.
Which just proves to show how far women's boxing come and how, at its best, people appreciate it. And we are an entertainment sport and people are entertained by it.
Why isn't it topping the bill as you brought it up?
You, listen, I'm not a matchroom fighter. I'm just doing what I'm told. But yeah, Katie deserves, I believe, to be top of the bill, regardless of what heavyweights are fighting. But you know, like I said, I've got the opportunity. I've kicked up enough fuss. I'm not kicking up anymore.
I was going to say, yeah, don't start complaining about that. Yeah, you're probably sensible. Um, Katie obviously fought in November against Miriam Gutierrez, and previous to that at Fight Camp where you fought Harper. Will it make any difference at all in that she's had that extra fight? She's been out a little bit more recently.
No, I don't think so. I think off the back of Harper, I was out for almost a year. I think it was 10 months then. So, as long as my mind is in a good place, it doesn't matter like what your body's doing. Your body just follows your mind. So as long as my mind's in a good place, I'll be in a good place. And that's the thing about the Harbour Camp is that it was, and I said straight away, I don't want to go back down. I want to stay at this level. It that gives me the motivation. Being the underdog gives me all the drive I need. When people say you can't do it, I'm like, okay, we'll see. So yeah, I want to stay here. I don't want to go back down. And I think, I'm in a good place mentally more than physically, but I'm in a good place for both.
Is 135 a better weight for you, do you think?
Uh, it's not a weight that I haven't done before. It's a weight, it just means to me 5 pounds that I don't have to get off, if I'm honest. Obviously, I was there for a long time as an amateur or thereabout. So it's not something that's brand new to me. But like I say, I think power wise, resilience wise, I think it is better.
Well, that's it. You're known as something of a puncher, and I think the extra £5 is only going to help in that regard, you would think.
Yeah, I would like to think so. I'll tell you after the fight.
Can you read anything into the previous meeting between yourself and Katie at the Olympics? It was such a long time ago now. It's a completely different sport almost, professional boxing to amateur. But is there anything you can take from it?
I mean, the fact that we've both been there together, I don't think like that's really it, because like you say, it is two totally different sports. You're talking, points. At the time, we was on scoring points, not winning rounds. You're talking, a knockdown is just a point instead of a 10-8, and you'd only have 4 rounds. Now we've got 10, so it is a totally different fight, and there's different skills that you have to have: endurance, durability, everything, all them, fitness. You've got to have. It's a different type of that, to continue that for the 10 rounds. So not, I don't really take that much off, apart from, yeah, we've both been there together. We both know our big stage is like, yeah, we both know we're in for the tough night, and I know I've got to be Harper and better.
Do you think her style might suit you better than Harper's?
Potentially. I think styles make fights, and I do think we've got styles that gel. But like, whatever style she chooses to adopt that night, on the night, we will have an answer for, exactly the same as Harper. We trained for every version of Harper, and we'll be doing the same with Katie.
I mentioned Everlast earlier. They've made a huge commitment to British boxing. They're planning to do 52 partnership agreements in the sport over the course of 2021. I guess one each week for the year. It won't be every week, but you get the point on average. And they've started off with a trio of female fighters, and you are one of them. Just tell us a little bit about how that came about.
Again, I've made a lot of fuss about, big companies supporting financially, visibly, commercially, supporting not only women in the sport but boxing in general, because we are one of the sports that, like, we don't kind of get the visibility we deserve. Luckily enough for me, Everlast was one of the businesses listening. And Sports Direct, and they've got some great initiatives going at the minute that are other ones separate that I'm hoping to be involved in, and I believe in what they're doing. So it was like a bond that naturally came, and there's other things that I've been involved in with them, and I'm happy to be on board, and they're happy to be on board with me. So yeah, I think we'll work well together in the future and beyond.
And you've been quite self-deprecating, saying, you've been whinging on and that kind of thing, but it obviously works. It's obviously had an impact, because you've got the fight that you've wanted, you've got the sponsorship deal that a lot of people would love to have. Clearly making a noise rather than just sitting back is a good thing.
I just think if you believe in something so strongly, you've got to stand by your morals, and stand up for what you believe in. And everyone, I got a little bit of slack saying, why didn't you take the Harper rematch for this much? But I didn't believe it was right, and I didn't believe the pay was fair. So I stood by my morals, and it's worked out for me, but it doesn't work out for everybody. And, I'm just one of the lucky ones, to be fair. But, people are scared to kind of stand up for what I believe for the repercussions and the backlash of what will happen. But, I've kind of got to that age where I'm like my morals are more important than anything financial, and to be able to be true to myself and stay true to myself is more important than anything.
And it's the impact on younger boxers as well, both male and female, in that they see you sticking up for what you believe is right, and maybe they won't be so fearful of doing so when they get to a similar stage in their careers.
Well, hopefully, but like the aim for some, like Jane Couch did it before us, is that you stand up and pave a way for it to be better for the younger ones coming through, so they don't have to do that. And that's the idea. We cook up enough of a fuss now to say, right, our pay isn't fair, and enough people join in and say, stand up and use their platform and say this isn't right, then the next lot and the next generation will come through, and they won't have to do that, because it'll already be done. It might not work out for us, but it'll be better for the ones, and that's how it should be. You should always be progressing and advancing positively.
Now, you said earlier you're not a matchroom fighter. You felt the decision for Terri Harper wasn't particularly fair, or the judges that voted for Harper in that fight. Are you at all worried that history could repeat itself? I know you shouldn't let that enter your mind, but Katie Taylor is one of the main matchroom female fighters.
Yeah, I mean, I can only control what I can control, and I can only control me fighting and what I do, and I can't control anything else. And to be fair to Katie, neither can she. If you're on the side that's favourable, that's not your fault. And I've never blamed Terri for that. It's not Terri that's the issue. It's but if you went in thinking of all the things that could go wrong or possibly might go wrong or should, would, could, you'd probably never get in. So I don't let that become a part of it. I've just got to do what I need to do to win. And, hopefully the judges will see the same way everybody else does.
Now, I'm sure you don't want to look too far beyond Katie, biggest fight of your career, of course, as a pro, but should everything go your way on the 1st of May, what would be left for you to achieve? Because undisputed world champion with your amateur background as well, that's a pretty strong body of work.
Yeah, I think it just draws a line in the sand for me. Like, as good as my amateur career was and the places to be in the competition to be, there was something that I hadn't done that I wanted to do, and I couldn't put my finger on it. And I think being an undisputed champion will finally draw a line in the sand and be like, yeah, you've done it now. That's enough. So yeah, you can never say what'll happen after it. I've done that before against Overnoff and looked beyond it, and it didn't work out well. So I just focus on what's right in front of me and live in the present and do what I need to do here and now, and then I'll think about that later. Whether that is retiring, whether that's another big fight, whether that's a big rematch, whether that's a unification at a different weight, whatever it is. I'm pretty sure if I win, there'll be a whole lot of people calling my name out than there is now. So we'll see.
One thing I should ask you before I let you go, in advance of this fight, do you view Katie as the number one pound for pound, or would it be Claressa Shields? They seem to be the two outstanding candidates.
I think you can make an argument for both. And I watched, the Gutierrez performance. I was like, yeah, it's Katie. And I watched Claressa's performance. I was like, yeah, it's Claressa. So I think it's just about who's the most active, to be fair, and who keeps winning. If you're looking at accolades, you would probably have to say Claressa. But I think when you look at the sport as a whole and, the following that she's got and what she represents and the person that she is, when you're looking at it like that, for amateur and pro, you'd probably say Katie. So
good stuff. Well, we could be saying you after the 1st of May. I guess that's the focal point.
That's what I want, and the ring belt and everything else.
Well, fingers crossed. Good luck, obviously, with the rest of the training camp. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to the fight.
Nice one. Thank you.
Cheers. Take care.
See you later.